Did you know that God has a purpose for every believer's life? What is yours? On today's broadcast, we're going to examine if we're truly seeking God's will, or are we running and hiding from what He wants us to do? This is going to be interesting. Stay with us. And welcome to this week's edition of Living Hope Today. I'm so honored to have you join us for this week's broadcast. It is my prayer that this episode will be an encouragement and blessing to you. Well, it's hard for me to believe that this is the last telecast for the month of October. Wow. October has flown by. Now we're looking to the colder months as we head deeper into to the fall season and even the coming holidays. But we are anticipating a wonderful fall broadcast this year that I trust will be a blessing to you, that you'll always remember to tune in. And as a reminder, we broadcast our program, Living Hope Today, each and every Thursday. Now, for some, you may forget to tune in. So an easy way to get around this is to get a reminder. So I want to encourage you, if you haven't already, to be sure to hit the follow button. Actually, on Facebook, it's up above. The follow button's up above if you're watching on our Facebook page. Now, also, at the bottom, you'll see the like and the share and the comment. I hope that you'll do one of those. Hit the like, hit the share, and comment. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. We'd like to know where you're hearing our broadcast from. Those are the things that I think we'd enjoy knowing, is where you're watching our program from. And for those who are regular viewers on our YouTube channel, just hit the subscribe button and be sure to hit that bell, which will notify you when a new broadcast has been released. I had someone ask me the other day what was the difference was for our broadcasts on Facebook and YouTube. Well, the content is just the same. We just post our episodes simultaneously to both platforms. And the difference technically is that, I suppose, would be on YouTube. Our program is released in full 1080 HD format, as to opposed to Facebook's 720 HD format. Also, YouTube has a great platform for distribution, which is why we now post to both Facebook and YouTube. So we trust you'll keep watching whatever platform you may be watching that you enjoy it on. Some people don't like Facebook because it has the commercials kind of built in sometimes, or they interrupt right in the middle. But you can still watch it on there and get great programming as well. So I hope that you'll do that. I also encourage you to be sure to drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. And here's our connection page with our email and mailing addresses. Now, be sure to jot them down and write to us to let us know if you're enjoying our programs. To me, it's always a joy to hear from you, our friends. So I hope that you'll do that. Just take note of those addresses and write us a note. We'd love to hear from you today. Now, on this week's episode, I want to share a devotional that delves into the subject of God's plan for our lives. I've titled it, Don't Run, Don't Hide. And I believe God has a plan for each of us. We have a purpose. I remember a song that talked about it, that we're here on earth to do His work, to do His business for Him. And the old song that we used to sing was, this world is not my home, I'm just passing through. Well, we need to remember that we're just here as pilgrims to this earth, and the Lord has things for us that He wants us to do while we're here. Not just enjoy the life. Oh yeah, He gave all this to us, but He wants us to do more for Him. So we need to obey whatever God may be calling us to do on His behalf. And I know He wants us to reach people for Him. And today, we'll be reminded of an old familiar story in the Bible about Jonah and the importance of obedience. So I ask you to stay tuned because we're going to get into this story, and I know it's going to be a blessing to you. But right now, let's listen to a longtime friend of mine, Assiniboine Sioux singer and songwriter Jay Cummins from the Fort Peck Reservation way up in northern Montana. I want you to listen as he sings a song entitled Hear My Cry, and then we'll be right back with today's message. Don't run, don't hide. Stay tuned.
Seek my face.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that song by Jay Cummins from the Assiniboine Sioux Tribe way up in Poplar, Montana. I hope that song was a blessing to you. Well, on this week's broadcast, I've entitled the devotional, as I said, Don't Run, Don't Hide. You might ask, so what does that mean? How does this pertain to me? Well, I think of probably one of the most well-known stories of the Bible dealing with a man named Jonah. Remember him? Yeah, he's that guy everyone remembers as the unfortunate one who had to live in the belly of a whale for 3 days and 3 nights. We probably all remember that old story to us in our early childhood years, or maybe in Sunday school, or through illustrations in books. It's hard to forget the story because we always think how yucky, how disgusting that experience had to be for Jonah to be in the belly of a whale for 3 days and 3 nights. But sometimes the main point of that story of Jonah kind of gets lost because of what happened to him with that whale. And but the most important lesson to me is his disobedience and the terrible decision he made to run and then hide from what God asked him to do. You know, we read in Jonah, in verses 1 through 3, we read this. It says, let's take a look at this. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry out against it, for their wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah arose to flee, or run, to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. He went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare and went down into it to go with them to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. That was the hiding part. Yeah, he just didn't want to go to Nineveh. He went the opposite way. I know he was scared because they treated their people there terrible. It was a terrible city. It was very sinful, and God was going to destroy it. It's in 40 days, I'm going to destroy this city, Jonah, unless you get over there and make a difference in those people. And it will happen if you'll do it. Preach the gospel there. And Jonah didn't want to. He had heard about people being persecuted for their faith. And so there was terrible things that he did not want to, why he didn't want to go there. And he may have told God his own excuses. He might have just said, well, I don't want to go there. It's too difficult. I'm afraid, or maybe I just want to do what I want. Well, whatever, Jonah made the disastrous choice to run and hide. The price he paid was that the boat he took was almost going to sink because God brought a great storm on Jonah. He found him. He brought that storm to where Jonah was on that boat. And as those men were out in the sea, they start praying to their gods and trying to deliver them from that storm, but nothing worked. And those shipmates realized, it's Jonah. It's got to be. They went down. He was asleep. And they woke him up and brought him up forward. And Jonah knew right then what had happened. He said, I know why this storm is. It's me. God's upset at me for what I did. I ran from him. You need to throw me overboard and let me get into the ocean. He goes, and all this will stop. Well, that's what they did. The shipmates threw him overboard, and this great fish swallowed him up. And though we might think that was a bad thing, the part of this that I find intriguing is that God had a plan. That fish, that great fish, was also going to be a refuge, a second chance allowed to Jonah. It allowed Jonah to live for 3 days and nights in the belly of a whale and repent to God for his disobedience. Now, it was really, listen to this, it was really a punishment turned into a provision. Yes, the big fish wasn't provided to destroy Jonah. The fish was provided really there to save him. God wanted to give Jonah a second chance. We read in Jonah chapter 2, look at it with me. It says that Jonah said, I called for help and you listened to my cry. Yes, God heard his prayers from deep within the belly of that whale. And God honored Jonah, and the fish released him and spat him up on dry ground. And Jonah did go on to Nineveh to fulfill the mission God wanted him to do. And by the way, I encourage you to read the rest of this. The Bible records in Jonah chapter 3, verses 5 through 10, that the end result of Jonah's disobedience was to share the gospel in Nineveh was one of great blessing. It did exactly what God had intended to do. Even the king of that great city feared God and worshiped him as Jonah gave his message. We don't really all know what he said, but it was enough to turn around that city completely. The king of the city, all the people of that city, of Nineveh, turned from their wicked ways, and God spared the city from destruction. All because God had a plan for Jonah. And this time he listened and he obeyed. And I really encourage you to read that passage in Jonah chapter 3, 5 through 10. It is amazing what God did to change the city of Nineveh. And it was all because Jonah obeyed God. Now imagine for a moment, if we, you and I, as followers of Christ, would listen to God's calling on our lives and how we too could change our cities to God, no matter where you are. I think that's another sermon in itself for another day, I think, right there. But when I think of this old story, I think of the many people whom the Lord may be talking to. Maybe God is calling you to accomplish his work for him. Maybe it's just having coffee with someone who needs your words of encouragement and prayer. I remember years ago, there was a little Christian coffee shop owned by some friends of ours, not too far from our church. And every I think it was every Thursday, some of the pastors would come in and meet and pray together and have fellowship together. They served wonderful pastries and breakfast and coffee. And I can't tell you how many times those pastors sometimes brought unsaved members from their church there to just talk with them and to visit with them. And I found this to be probably one of great places to really witness and share Christ. It was quaint. It was very relaxing in there. It was over a cup of coffee. It was a time to share with somebody. And maybe that's something that you could do. Or maybe it's serving in your church or helping in your community activities. Or schools to serve as on the PTA maybe as a Christian example and testimonies to whom you may meet. Or better yet, as a missionary sharing the gospel to the lost. God may have spoken to you, but like Jonah, you've made excuses and instead run and hide. Like Jonah, when God's trying to do something big in your life, there is always another boat and there is always another distraction. And when you run from your calling, you're also running away from all God has for you. There is a wonderful and blessed outcome on the other side of your obedience. We need to push forward, run towards your calling, and push past the distractions. Like the provision of the whale for Jonah's life, we too sometimes experience problems that we feel we're being punished. Yet like God like God did, he provided the whale for Jonah's protection. The feeling that God is punishing us, that may have been what Jonah felt. He was being punished. But it's really God's provision. He's giving you another chance. We must accept and embrace those signs because he is helping us to grow through him. We should never mistake God's protection for God's punishment. Instead, draw closer to him and seek his face. I ask him to lead your life, and I hope he will. That's important for you to do, is ask him, Lord, where do you want me to go? What do you want me to do? Then follow him. Don't run. Don't hide. Follow the Lord. Trust him. Know that he's going to take care of you and that he has something great in store for you. A wonderful, wonderful blessing. And I hope that today you will seek God with all your might. Turn to him. Let go and let God take you so he may use you for his call on your life. You know, he has a purpose and a plan for you, just as he did for Jonah. No matter if you run from him, he still hears our prayers, just like Jonah. He is a God of forgiveness, a God of second chances. And when we find ourselves in the dangerous place of disobedience, we can reach out to him in prayer. And I guarantee you, our loving Heavenly Father, God will bring us back safely, just as he did with Jonah. I trust this devotion was an encouragement to you and a wonderful source of hope we have through Christ. And I thank you for joining us today. We trust that you'll join us again next week at the same time for more of Living Hope Today. I'd love to have you join us every Thursday. Be sure you tell a friend that this broadcast is on every Thursday right here on Facebook and our YouTube channel. So I hope you'll plan to join us. I'll look forward to seeing you then. Until then, may the Lord bless and keep you.